in your life? How are you moving the needle in the right direction? Right? So that's what I'm on. And personally, this morning is us growing. And the first way that we grow is with, hold on, we're recording now. I gotta exit out of in your life. How are you moving the needle? There we go. All right. So, I said all that to say, how we move forward in this business is doing exactly what we're doing today. This is why Saturdays, in my opinion, like you're welcome. Every other training is great, but I feel like Saturdays is where you come and you learn the language. Right? Everybody probably knows, or you might not know. Like, I've been doing Duolingo like crazy because I am determined to learn Spanish, and I found another Spanish app. Like, I am committed and I am determined to learn Spanish. And my little app says that I have been committed for the past 37 days. For the past 37 days. Y'all see that? Consistently committed every single day, showing up in this app so that I can learn Spanish. I have proven to myself that I can be consistent. Why? Because there was a point in my life that I let myself down a lot and I didn't believe in myself because I could not be consistent. So, showing up on Saturdays consistently, showing up to trainings consistently, showing up for yourself. A lot of times our belief level, I can't spell, fundamental. A lot of times, I can't talk today, our belief level is low because we have not proven to ourselves that we can do it. We've proven to ourselves that we can't stay committed to what we said. So now we don't believe in ourselves. A lot of times it's not Primerica. Right? Primerica is plug and play. You just plug into the system. I mean, D is 7 recruits in her team right now. Why? Because she's committed to showing up. She's committed to being consistent. And trust me, it's been times that she ain't want to do this no more. It's hard, right? But Primerica will reveal your weaknesses and it forces you to become strong. Right? It forces you to get better. You either gonna grow up, get strong, or you gonna give up. And I don't want to be a quitter. And Dee's a winner. She doesn't want to be a quitter. Right? So I'm proud of her for pressing through. Cause sis, what was you at last month? 107, right?
Girl, I think maybe one. I
One. And where were you at the month before that?
probably a zero because that
Zero.
month
Okay,
was
so zero,
yeah.
one, but everybody has this misconception that I don't know. Nobody sees when you did zero. Nobody sees when you did one. Everybody only see when you do 7, right? You wasn't there when I was doing zero and when I was doing one, right? We did one recruit as a team in February, and I'm just laughing because everybody's asking me to come like speak on their team meetings, and I'm like, y'all don't even know. Like a couple months ago, like earlier this year, this wasn't it. But I made a decision. It takes 1 second to make a decision to prove to yourself that you can do this. You can be consistent. You can, as long as you show up, you win. As long as you plug and play, you win. As long as you're coachable, you win. Right? And it's not being coachable, half-ass coachable in a sense, and this ain't a shot at nobody. It ain't being half-ass coachable to where you're like, like I might do this, but I ain't gonna do that. That's not being coachable. It's not running the play. Right? I'm excited to watch D double digit recruit this month because she's been at the office every single freaking day, morning to night. It's a decision because that one decision is going to change the trajectory for her and her family. Right? Hey, Ivan Earls is GOAT. He be talking. I'm like, just sign me up. Whatever he said, I want to do that, right? So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of transition over before we hop into our training for today. So mastering the 7 fundamentals is what we're doing, guys. This is what we're doing. So whenever we show up on Thursdays to Daniel, this is why I say make it a point to show up because you're gonna get a piece of every single thing that you need. Um, Showing up to Daniel's, he covers the seven fundamentals. We will get to the point. I'm trying to figure out where to put the seven fundamentals in here in a short frame of time, because we do spend a lot of time on the front end, here in the beginning, which is cool. But prospecting, setting appointments, presenting. I don't know if Alexis is on here. She may or may not be, but I'm super proud of Alexis. Hi, sister. Coach Drea just walked in. But I'm really proud of Alexis
Yay, I'm up the
because,
street.
oh, and Dee's up the street. Okay, well, Andrea just walked in. So I'm really proud of Alexis because even though she has gotten her license, she's super laser focused on mastering the presentation, right? And also learning how to prospect and grow her list. The thing is, Alexis is fully licensed. I laugh and I'm like, girl, you more licensed than me. She got her 7 and 63. That outranks me on a million levels. But I love it that she still makes it a point to show up and grow and ask me how she can get better and not take it as she just knows all the things, right? So I'm really excited for where she's going. You good, girl, just do your thing. Setting appointments, presenting, making sure that we know how to overcome objections. Product knowledge is where we're at right now. So that's really where I want to focus on Saturdays and just kind of reiterating is product knowledge because this is where you get confident. When you know what you're talking about, your confidence, it increases. So I want to put that out there and obviously getting your recruit off to a fast start. Honestly, I feel like we got that in the bag at this point. Making sure that we have everything just lined out, boom, boom, boom. This is what you need to do. This is how we get started. And so, and I'll probably do a training over this too, just so that the newest person is able to get their new person off to a fast start, because I don't think that that's anything that should be complex. Anyway, so product knowledge, as we've been going through these Saturdays, I'm going to stop my share for just a second. As we've been going through these Saturdays, I would love a little feedback. Do you guys feel like this is something that is increasing your product knowledge? Andrea said yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, good because like I'm like, man, like I want to make sure that you guys, my goal is to make sure that you guys are successful. Like, does that make sense? Like, I want us making money. Like, that's why we came here. We came here to be a team that's making money. And if you're not making money, we got to fix it. We gotta fix we gotta fix it at all costs. Like you gotta be unapologetic. You gotta be relentless about fucking showing up and making money, right? Like I know y'all like to hang out with me on Saturdays, but if we not applying and we ain't setting ourselves up to make money during the week, what are we doing? Go get your license. Go, guess what? When did I write that app? The day before yesterday, and I got a do not reply today. Like what? Where else can you go put in the work and a couple of days later you get paid? Like it's just not, it doesn't happen. I'm doing like 2 or 3 more life insurance policies today, and I'm gonna set up some more this week. Y'all, when I said Brandon gave me permission to go get it, like y'all might get my watch in the next week. I don't know. Like I don't know. Like I like the mission that is happening right now, but I want you guys to be on the same mission. Christmas is coming up. If you got a license, why you not making an extra $2,000-3,000 before Christmas so that you can have a great Christmas for your family? If you have a license. If you have a license, why are you not recruiting people, great people, quality people, so that you can get an override? This business is simple. It's so simple, right? I know I'm kind of hyped up because I'm like, man, let's get it. Like, let's go get this money. But just to preface, but I'm also a high A, so I like making money. Like, I'm like, where is my money? Just give me my money. Yay. So that's how I
I
feel.
was just about to say Tootie was saying that.
You said what?
Tootie was Tootie was saying that.
Yes, that's how I feel too. So even with that being said, we're gonna just kind of transition over and we are gonna watch a securities training today. I feel like this doesn't just strengthen, and we can move in there so we can watch it together. This doesn't just strengthen us as you know, as leadership and as professionals, as advisors, as coaches and consultants. It puts us all on the same page. So I don't look at time on Saturdays, y'all. This ain't a come in, get out thing. This is we come here to get better. This ain't clock in, clock out. This is we come here so that we can grow collectively. Because if we're not all on the same side of the rope, if we're not all on the same page, then we're not going to win, right? What did Coach Brandon say yesterday? Nobody is afraid to give the secret sauce because they already know that you ain't got what it takes to go do it. Steph Curry says, if you want to shoot as well as I do, I practice 1,000 shots in a day. He knows nobody has the discipline to go out and do it, right? But the thing is, I do. I want to do everything that it takes every single moment of the day to go out and get it and make it in this company. All I can think about is it's plug and play. It's plug and freaking play, right? So anyways, securities preface, you guys are, if you don't have a securities license, please do not solicit investments, right? You cannot sell investments. You cannot advise on investments, but you can give some education. And that's what I want you guys to be comfortable and confident in as you're in the process of getting your investment license, or go get your insurance license and then go get your investment license, right? I know a lot of people are getting ready for that right now. Let me see here. Products. No, we're not going there. Training and development. All right, we can move that way. Coach Adria. Training and development. Maybe. I say that, but if I put I think if I put sound on the TV, they can't hear. I think that's what it is. Yeah, I was like, I think that's what it is. Oh, okay, yeah, that works too. All right, let's go down. I couldn't remember, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. So everybody should have access to these things. So I always say, like, don't wait on me. Oh shoot, they got some more investment trainings. I am here for it. Nope, don't need it in Spanish.
That is a great way to study
To learn
your Spanish.
Spanish, right?
Mhm.
You're right, you're right. So, if I'm not mistaken, I know we did compensation. Should have wrote it down because I really don't remember. I don't think we did account types. I know we haven't done sales tools. I think we did products, compensation. Let's do account types today.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Simplifying Securities. My name is Lindsay Taylor, and I am excited to be with you for week 1 of this brand new training series. For those of you who don't know me, I am in charge of securities licensing and training. So my entire job and my team's job is to help you grow your securities licensing sales force and your securities licensing team, and get them confident and trained up so that they can go out there and help people save for their futures. In this series, we are going to focus on that second half, training you up and getting confident. This is a brand new 5-week series. In week 1, we're going to cover account types. Week 2, product types. Week 3, going to demonstrate how to use the different sales tools that we have available, and not just how to use them, but when to use them. Moving on, we're going to talk about securities applications and showing you a demo of EasyKey, Turbo Apps, and IRA Assembler. And then week 5, we're going to come around and talk about compensation and also keeping your clients. So you've done all of this great work to get those clients, and let's talk about those revisitation and client servicing strategies. But we are in week 1 right here, so let's go ahead and dive in. This week, we're going to focus on the account types, but before we do that, I want to show you the tools in order to help you be successful on POL. I am going to pull up on my screen POL. Probably the best thing that I have ever learned was back in elementary school at Red Mill Elementary School in Edders, Pennsylvania. You can go ahead and Google it. It is not on the map. But my librarian in there told me you don't have to know everything. Mainly because if you know everything, then you're a know-it-all and you're insufferable and nobody likes to know it all. What you do need to know is how to find everything. And so she taught us strategies to be able to search and find the answer for whatever we needed to find the answer for. So right now, I want to show you and teach you where on POL, on the investment side, you're going to find the resources that are the most valuable to you. Really, if you focus on the investments tab, so anytime we mention investments tab, it goes products and investments. So on this main page, you'll see right here, this is our latest marketing content that we have available to you on the middle of the page. On the far right-hand side are all of our great strategic partners. And on this page, I want to really focus on just a couple areas. So if you click United States here, and if you go all the way down here to operations support, the couple things I want to show you here. This first one is purchases here. So if you have a client that shows up and maybe it's not a check, but they say, hey, I have a third-party check, meaning it's made out to them instead of PFS Investments, or you're wondering if we can use Bitcoin or anything else. We can't use Bitcoin, by the way, to fund an investment account. On this purchases tab, it's going to have all of the purchase instruments that are approved and accepted and the ones that are not. It is a great resource if you click here under purchase instruments. Now the guidelines up here show you the fund minimums. So whether you have a PAC or you're just doing a lump sum investment, it has all of the fund minimums for the different account types that we're about to talk about and the different fund companies here. Now, let's say not just purchases, but moving on to transfer of assets. You meet with a client and they have money that they want to move over here. If I click transfer of assets here, what I can tell you is operations will never be experts on other people's paperwork because it's other people's paperwork. However, what operations has done is over all of the years, they've compiled all of the knowledge that they have about the other custodians and put together a list as best as they know of, hey, these are the custodians that they're not going to take that electronic paperwork, that you're going to have to print it out, or they need a signature guarantee, or they want their own paperwork on here. So if you click any of these links right here, it's going to show you, hey, here are the people that want additional paperwork. So if you have someone that is rolling over money, you can go here, look first, or call the other custodian with your client saying, hey, what do I need to do to move that money? Do you have extra paperwork? That will save you a lot of time from submitting paperwork, and then it kind of gets stuck and sitting there that we sent it, but the other custodian hasn't responded. So this is a great friend and a great resource anytime you have someone transferring money over, that you can go and look and say, oh, yep, they are going to want more. Let's go take that, get that taken care of before we submit the rest of the paperwork. The other that we'll talk about is the approved funds listing right down here. So this lists all of the funds that are available, because the mutual fund companies that we work with and the annuities, they have lots and lots of funds available. But we go through a due diligence process, and before a fund is able to be sold through PFS Investments, we go through that due diligence process I just mentioned, and we have the SB 70 update right here. So this is where you can find those. I know we send them out regularly through field bulletins, but all of the approved funds listing are available here on this page as well. Want to show you a couple other things on this page. So the first one is the IRA Resource Center. So this IRA Resource Center here just talks about IRAs. So it is going to be your best friend during IRA season. And if you don't know what IRA season is, we're about to talk about that when we get to qualified plans in a few minutes. So this has the not just the contribution limits as well, but the phone numbers of our strategic partners that you can reach out for questions, for sales or marketing, or questions about their fund. They are there. They are fantastic. You can reach out to them. And then we also have all of the IRA resources available here. So this the one thing I will point out is the IRA eligibility flowchart. We're going to be talking about that in a little bit. These resources here are really going to help you out during the IRA season. The other is the Education Plans Resource Center. You see a theme, right? We tend to like naming things resource centers on the investment side, but the Education Resource Center lists all of our fund companies that offer 529 plans or the ABLE accounts. It has a lot of great resources. If you click Education Savings Plan Resource Center and then PFS Investments, so not only does it have all of our paperwork and the important information, but it also just has great resources as well, like savingforcollege.com, Sally May's website, the U.S. Department of Education. And then while we will go through all of the different types of education accounts and comparing them, you can come here and there is an awesome chart comparing 529 plans versus Coverdell's versus an UGMA or an UTMA. The last resource center, again, we like our resource centers, is the Securities Resource Center. So this is where operations is moving all of their information to one easy to find place for you to grab, whether it's forms, checklists, or guides. So I click Securities Resource Center and click brokerage accounts. You can see we have all of those different forms on there. So any different possible form or PDF booklet that you need for brokerage accounts, for managed accounts, checklist for if you're doing retirement accounts, these are all the things that I need on here. The guides are step-by-step walkthrough. So if you're stuck and you want a step-by-step screenshot, you can absolutely go there on the guides. And then of course, the new paper applications and securities forms, you can click securities forms and search for what you're looking for. And let's look up a rep change. So you can type in rep, and any place that it says the word rep, it'll pull up those forms. So you can see under rep forms, and the BD9 form, if I need to change that rep, pulled right up for you. Super simple and easy. Now, I want to show you two last things on there. The first one is a brand new calendar that we have out there called the PFSI calendar here. It's a new Google calendar that is showing all of the different training that we have available out there. You can see Simplifying Securities is out there on Thursdays at 2 p.m., which is this training series. So this is when the live is. It has the Zoom links on there. But you can also, as our strategic partners are scheduling calls throughout the year, we're going to put those on there. So if you're like me and you want a calendar and kind of plan ahead, you can actually go out there and use that calendar to the best of your ability. Okay, last one on POL, I completely promise, is the search bar. Now, if you're rolling your eyes and saying, Lindsay, the search bar is kind of not my favorite part of POL, fine, I totally understand. What I want you to do is pretend that you have short, chubby fingers like I do, and you accidentally click Support Center instead. Just simple little click there instead. So this brings up the Primerica Support Center. So IT, whether it's life operations, securities operations, everyone puts their information here. So if you have a question or you need a form, all you have to do is search here and it pulls that up. So I want to show you real quick. Let's say if a client, hey, I'm changing my bank account, what do I need? If you type in PAC for pre-authorized checking in here and click search, you're going to find not just the PAC form for the investment side to update the banking, but life, whether it's kind of NBL or everybody else on there, it'll pull up those forms right at the tip of your fingers. Really excited about this. This is a great resource. If you're not using it and you're using the old search feature, absolutely use the search feature instead. Operations has done a fantastic job updating this training. Okay, so we talked about the resources and knowing the tools available to you so that you can find the right answer. Now let's go ahead and dive into the different account types. What type of accounts can you offer at PFS Investments? All of these accounts, whether they're qualified, you can see the list of qualified accounts, education accounts, and then the non-qualified taxable accounts are available at PFS Investments. In this training, we are going to focus on the ones that are in the green box because a bulk of your business, probably 85–90% of your business, are going to come from those green boxes. Now, before we go and start with the retirement accounts and diving into traditional versus Roth IRAs, I want to talk about the 3 fundamental accounts. I'm sure you've seen this. This is in a lot of our brochures, and we sit down and talk to our clients about these 3 fundamental accounts and why you should be using those. So everybody needs an emergency account, because if you are like me, something breaks in my house every 6 months like clockwork, and it is always at the most convenient time. Air conditioner breaks down in the summer. Furnace breaks down in the winter. Never swap, so you have any time. It's an emergency. I need this taken care of right now. That's something that you need that quick access to go through if you've got to go call a plumber or run up to Best Buy and go buy an appliance or wherever you buy your appliances. You need that money right now. So it's probably going to be a banker checking account, something that you have that easy money that for those emergencies or those unforeseen expenses. The next is the short-term account. This is kind of up to 6 months of income. We always tell people, hey, if you lose your job, you need to have 3 to 6 months of income saved up in a short-term account. This account can be in one of those taxable accounts that we're about to talk about, but you still need access to that money without having to pay any penalties or fees because it's a short term. So it can be for a loss of a job and, hey, I need to supplement my income right now. But it can also be for the down payment of the house, or if you know you're going to take a giant trip, maybe to Disney. I mean, Disney can take 2 or 3 years to save up for these days. That can be that short-term account that, hey, I don't need it right away. I can let it sit and grow for a little bit longer, but it's not being set aside for a wealth building account.
Are y'all okay to watch this again, or do you guys want to watch something different? Because I was like, I've watched it so many times that it's like running together. I was like, is this the did we watch
Mhm.
it? Did
Yes,
watch
we did. Yeah,
this?
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I've watched it so many times. I'm just like, now I know we talked about emergency fund, short term, wealth building, but y'all let me know. I got something. It's short. We're just gonna call an audible right now. Is everybody okay with that?
I'm down.
All right, let's see. And then we'll come back to product types next week. Let's do this, and then we'll roll over into the IUL beatdown. Well, I thought it was short. I guess it's not. It's an hour. Okay. So we will do, man, I really want to do mutual funds. We'll do that another time. Ooh, it's an hour. We already watched why securities is important. Let's do emergency funds. Or do you guys want to do college planning? Let me know.
I'm with emergency.
Okay. Same. Plus, I haven't got to watch this one, so let's do it.
We're going to emergency funds, how to manage a person's emergency funds. Everyone's goal should be to have 6 months of their expenses put away in an emergency fund. Everybody says 6 months of their income. You don't need 6 months of your income. You need 6 months of your expenses. If you make $8,000 a month, but you're paying $2,000 a month in taxes, then if you were unemployed, you're not paying $2,000 a month in taxes, right? Most people don't have 1 month of their expenses put away. Would you agree with that? Like most people, if they didn't get paid their next paycheck, they're in trouble. Our job is to help them find the money, number one, through doing a budget. In the F&A, there's a budget sheet. Look, they're going to discover money in places they didn't know they had. So you create value when you budget. So you're going to budget with them. That's number one way to look at it. Number two, hey, how about recruiting them? How, if they don't got a month worth of emergency fund, how about, hey, listen, let me ask you a question. How does it make you feel, honestly, and I don't mean this in a rude way, that you don't even have a month worth of emergency money? Are you worried about that? Do you stress out about that? Talk to people. Talk to them like they're a person, not like you're trying to make a sale. See, a lot of this in our business, it's not the car business. Car business, you're there to close them to make a sale, right? And it's never a pleasant experience. So our business is a relationship-driven business. But you're like, but I have to hurry up because I have another appointment and then another one after that. And then, listen, are you making sales or are you building client relationships that will lead you to multiple sales long term? Okay? So doing a budget is one way. Recruiting them, helping them make money is another way. And then see about taxes withheld. I know we're not tax advisors, but when you look at their withholding on their paychecks and you ask them the question, do you normally get a tax refund or do you usually owe them money? Oh no, I get a refund. Oh really? About how much? Oh, $8,000. They think that's good. If they're getting $8,000 back, that means they're overpaying on their taxes. They're overpaying on their taxes. So you explain that to them. Say, listen, they're not like giving you money because they like you. Like you know that, right? You're overpaying $8,000 a year. You're letting the government keep your money tax-free, interest-free. They're not paying you any interest to use your money. You're using credit card debt because you don't have that money, and you're waiting at the end of the year to hopefully get it back. And then when you get it back, what do you use it for? Pay off my credit cards? Think about how crazy that is. I said, what you need to do is you need to go into your HR person, tell them at work that you're getting an $8,000 refund. How many withholdings do you have to do to lower what they're holding? What's $8,000 divided by 12 months? $650 roughly, let's say, right? Tell them, ask them, what about $600 less a month? Ask them how many withholdings you need to do. Oh, are you allowed to do? Like, they're scared. They're uneducated. I said, how many, do you claim now? 0. You got 4 kids. Why do you claim 0? I don't know. I don't want any trouble. Oh yeah, you're not going to get in trouble. You're lending them $8,000 a year at 0 interest costs. They love you. So it's about educating them, number one, helping them open their eyes and looking for places that they don't know to look, and helping them get more cash flow in their wallets every month. So here's my philosophy with emergency funds, okay? And when I mean emergency funds, I mean emergency funds. I don't mean an account that you put in $1,000 this month and you withdraw $800 next month, and then you put in $600 this month and you withdraw $500. That's put and take account. That is not an emergency fund. That's like a checking account. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about emergency fund. So aside from what they want to keep in their checking account for immediate liquidity, so their put and take account, aside from what they're going to leave in their checking account, here's what we do. There is an account called, the ticker symbol is ORSTX. It's the only account that I know of that we offer like this. and you let me know if I'm wrong. It's an Invesco short-term muni. It's around for 11 years. It's never had a negative year. Its goal is to not have a negative year, and it never has. It's averaged 2% a year, tax-free, and there's no load in, no load out. So I don't know. I'd rather leave my money there than in the bank earning zero. Because if you got 10 grand in the bank, you're getting 0.01%. 0.01%. Here you're getting 2%. Now you think of that. 2% is how many times 0.01%? 200 times, right? 10 times would be 0.10. 100 times would be 1%. 200 times would be 2%, right? So if we could get you 200 times what you're getting at the bank, tax-free, it's never had a negative year, no charge in, no charge out, and we're going to use this as the basis of your emergency fund. Well, now look, we don't get paid because there's no load. We don't get paid on it, so we're not doing it so we get paid. We're doing it for our client's best interest because we should always act like a fiduciary and always have our client's best interest, right? So, and I'm going to let you look at that. So ORSTX, short-term muni, no sales charge. It's not to be used as a put and take account. It's to grow an emergency fund, okay? It's perfect to get people started saving for emergencies. It's liquid, tax-free, gets about 2% a year, and you want to go there until they've got 2 months of expenses saved. So 2 months, so if you started with $100 a month or whatever, you keep doing that until they've got 2 months of their expenses saved. That way, if they have an emergency, they could withdraw it out of that account and there's no charge to the client. You with me? Next 3 months of expenses save in SHMMX. That's the Western Asset Municipal. Why do I use that? It's pretty much all A-rated bonds in there. Has a long track record. I know the management team, and I'm just comfortable using that as an emergency account. It's a municipal fund. So there's no taxes on it. So if we grow 2 months in the ORSTX, 3 months in the SHMMX, you got 5 months worth of expenses, not income. And now, for the last month, start going to an account that could give you some growth. So 1 month of expenses in the equity income fund, which is that one I said, Grandma's Mutual. Again, I'm just giving you the idea, the concept of 2 months in one account with no charges in or out, 3 months in a municipal and all A-rated bonds, so it's very safe, and then 1 month where you have like a moderate account where you could get some growth in there. The reason we want all this done this way is the goal with an emergency fund. Here's your goal. Number one, liquidity, right? If it's an emergency fund, you got to be able to get to it. So liquidity is number one priority. So if you have 2 months in that one account that's liquid with no charges, you're going to use that first. Next thing is you want growth of at least the inflation rate. You've got to keep up with inflation. So in your emergency fund, your goal should be to get at least 3, not 0.1% at the bank, because you're actually losing money. You're losing purchasing power. That loaf of bread that was $2.99 is now $4, right? And if your money is not growing, if your emergency fund is not growing, you're losing purchasing power. So it's like you're losing money, even though you look at the number and the number's not less money, you're losing money. Okay? Like home office wants us, to use no explicit costs because you have opportunity costs. Well, this is kind of like that, where like if you're not making the rate of inflation, you're losing money. Okay? And then number 3, if you can get growth over inflation, That'd be great, but number one and number two are the most important priorities. So number one of liquidity and number two of total growth of inflation rate is the most important. If you could get more than that, hallelujah, great, okay? So don't overwhelm the client. Don't tell them, hey, you need $98,000 in your emergency fund and like they got no money there. You're gonna like just blow them out of the water. So let me give you an example. The client, husband makes $3,000 a month, wife makes $3,500 a month. So look, 6 months of that would be $39,000. That would probably be overwhelming to them if they don't have $2,000. So you need 6 months of expenses, not their gross income. Do their budget, and let's say their expenses are $5,000 a month. The rest was taxes. Now let's take the higher salary, $3,500, because what are the odds they both get laid off? Right? Slim that they both get laid off at the exact time. So when I'm starting an emergency fund, I'm going to look at their monthly expenses, and then I'm going to look at the higher paid person, and then I'm going to take that number. So $3,500, her taxes are $900. She nets $2,600 a month. Husband makes $3,000. His taxes $600 a month. He nets $2,400. Say the higher salary earner gets laid off. I always look at worst case scenario. The higher salary person gets laid off. $5,000 worth of expenses. We already went over that, right? They make $6,000, but $1,000 is taxes. Their overall expenses are $5,000. You with me on that? He makes $2,400 net. That leaves $2,600 times 6 months. We need to get them to $15,600 in emergency funds versus $39,000. An amateur walks in, you need $39,000. I ain't gonna do $39,000. Get out of my house. I ain't giving you money. And then you do nothing. Because in their mind, well, I can't do that. You explain what I just explained to them. You say, look, we're going to start with this. When we get to 15,600, we'll reevaluate. But at least we'll have 6 months of expenses of the higher earner, because the odds that you both get laid off are a lot slimmer than if one of y'all gets laid, or both of you is ill and are not able to work versus one of you, right? So let's take the higher one and let's start growing a nest egg there. So 15,600 is a lot more doable than $39,000, right? So it's our job to get them started, feeling good, feeling positive about where they're going. Listen, nobody in their life is pumping them up. At their jobs, they're getting told they're no good, right? With their families, they're getting told, whatever, you're just how you are. And then you're there to say, listen, we could do this thing together. If you really want to do it, I could help you. Right? Who else is that positive influence in their life usually? Right? Nobody. Us, okay? 15,600, so now they're feeling better about it. So look, using that number, 15,600, which is $2,600, which is the higher earner, less taxes times 6 months. 2 months of that would go into ORSTX, which is the no load in. Now there are AUMs. There's a charge of 85 bips on the operating expense. So we do get paid AUMs on that, okay? So we want to start investing. So if they're doing $150 a month in here, that's $1,800 a year. So in like 30 months, they'll have that. Hey, look, you go 30 months. Listen, they'll never have it without us. So now we got 5,200 in their ORSTX, and they're probably feeling pretty good about that. Then we start with the SHMMX. You don't have to open a new account. You just add the position in their account. Now, obviously, you explain to them all the loads and the charges and the fees, because on the ORSTX, there are no charges and fees, okay? So you explain that to them, okay? And then after you reach that, you go 1 month into the equity income, you just add it into the account. You don't need to open it. In the old days, we used to have to open a whole new account for everyone. How dumb was that? Now just add another position into their account. So now they've got 15.6. They're feeling pretty good about themselves, I'd say, right? Ask them, how good would that feel? Last 10 years, ending 9/21, I worked out the numbers. Actually, I'll just give you these numbers right here. I ran the hypo. $15.6 from 9/21/2011. I ran it for 10 years, the last 10 years. Remember, you're not allowed to highlight using these with clients, but since you're not clients and we're just training, I'm using a highlighter to point out some stuff. Charges, their total charges, 400 and change, 480 about, and their portfolio value at the end is 24,245. So once we got to that 15.6, we could probably just leave it alone and let it grow to that 24, so they're growing their emergency fund while we start working on their retirement plan, on their college funds or whatever. And you bring them this and you tell them the average annual rate is 4.5. Does this meet all the goals? Is it liquid? Are they able to get to it? Yup. Is it growing at least with the rate of inflation, 3%? Yup. Is it growing more than the rate of inflation, 3%? Yup. It's a win-win-win. Were there any years, if you look at the numbers, were there any negative years? Well, let's see. There was one negative year. It went from 2651 to 2295 to 22, no, that's up, I'm sorry. You had one down year using the whole portfolio. The muni with no load had no negative years. So you got 4.51. This is to me, it's a perfect emergency fund. You got the interest that's coming in on the majority of it, tax-free money, so it's just getting reinvested. You got the one little part with the equity income. That's the booster. It's what gets the return up, okay? So the first 5 months are more the liquidity and the inflation capture rate, and that 1 month is more the booster that gives the overall portfolio the over the inflation rate of return.
All right, before we switch gears, I'm gonna have a couple people come off mute and just kind of share what you got as far as understanding emergency funds a lot more. That was my first time watching that one, and I'm just like, I think we need to watch that a couple more times, just individually and as in trainings as well. So what did you guys get before I start talking like crazy? And I'm gonna wait, so y'all might as well just come off mute.
Well, what I got was not to overwhelm the customer with, or not customer, the client with the big number, the 6 month big number. Show them that, okay, do little by time, and we can get up to this number, and then we switch gears into retirement savings and let that just grow on its own instead of us, force feeding them. Oh, you need to save this up in 6 months just in case something happens and it's a big number. Now they go like, oh, I don't want to do it. It's scary.
Right. Because if they thought that they could do it, they would already be doing it, right? So that's where we really come in to be able to be like a coach. So in the coaching world, we are looked at as guides. right? So if you were ever to get like like a life coaching certification or like a business coaching certification or anything like that, we are not there to give advice, right? We are there to ask questions and guide you in the direction that works best for you and the path and the journey that you're on. So it's the same thing in finance. We get so it's not that it's just the industry, right? The industry is this chest out, chin up, I know more than you, just do what I say because you're dumb, because you don't know anything about money type industry. Like, would you guys agree with that? Like, if you sat down with somebody from a Edward Jones or Charles Schwab or Northwestern Mutual or Merrill Lynch and ask me how I know, because when I come in and I say that I have a Series 6 and 63, they look at me funny, right? But the thing is, I'm able to be more relatable with my clients because I know how to coach. So whenever I'm teaching you guys to be a coach and a consultant in this industry, and that's why I'm telling you, not telling you, but kind of, saying, hey, good leaders ask great questions. I'm always telling you to get your toolbox together of the questions that you will ask your future clients so that you don't overwhelm them, right? Because if they knew what to do, they would already be doing it. But if you're like, you're doing this wrong and you need to do this and just do it because I said so and I know what's best. No, like, why did you, hello, little baby. Why did you, what was the thought process whenever you made this specific decision? Okay, how do you feel like it's working for you now on a scale of 1 to 10? I'm a really big on a scale of 1 to 10 person, because if you're anything less than a 5, I want to see how I can get you from a 3 to a 4. Like, I'm just here to get you to the next step. I'm not here to get you from a 1 to a 10. That's not my job. I'm here to guide you on your financial journey. Does that make sense, guys? So that was really good, Andre. Does anybody have anything else that they want to share?
To piggyback off what Andre said, that what he said that really stuck out to me was that we don't have people in our corner as adults. You go to your job and they put you down. You go to your family and they might put you down. So it's important to have like somebody to motivate you, and that's something that you don't get from a lot of people anywhere.
Gotcha. Yep, that's true. Exactly what you said. That's true. That's true. We go to our jobs. Nobody's lifting you up. So just for us to be very encouraging in the space is a really big deal. No, that was good. I hope you guys like that. I loved it. Again, I'm gonna go back and watch it. I wrote down some of the like the tickers that he mentioned, just so that I can kind of go back and really research the tickers. If you've ever done an investment account with me or like a training investment appointment, like I research funds and I research tickers with my clients. So whenever he wrote those down, I'm like, okay, I want to go back and be able to research them so that whenever I'm talking to a client, I know how to educate and answer questions that they may or may not have. Right. And if you guys want to know how to do that, just just let me know and we can find time to kind of train on that, because whenever you get your investment license, I feel like that's the thing that really allows me to connect with clients, is that I'm able to research with them versus just saying, do this because I said so. Right. So with that being said, it was something I was gonna say. Research, tickers, emergency funds. Yes, Molly, I agree with that 100%. It's very systematic. It's in order, step 1, step 2, step 3. Gosh, what was I gonna say, guys? Tickers. Oh, yes, I remember. I'm gonna figure out which week I'm gonna do it, but Eric DeBell has this super secret investment training that he doesn't like to share with anybody if you don't have an investment license. But guess who has it? Me. So, Heather, hold on, guys. Hello. Oh yeah, I know. I saw that this morning. Okay, love you. Bye. He already knows. Okay, bye. Oh my gosh. My daughter called me. She said, one of your kids broke the handle in the bathroom, the towel bar. Dre has been swinging on it. And I'm like, bro, you're gonna break it. Get down, it's gonna break. So it finally broke because of your nephews.
Y'all better leave baby Dre alone.
Your nephew broke the towel bar in the bathroom. He goes from the bathtub and
Then
like,
you said leave him alone too.
okay. I mean, I can't fix it, so that's up to his dad. That's up to his dad. Anyway, so yes, I have the super secret sauce that, Eric won't send you this video unless you have an investment license. And let me tell you, it is freaking top tier. And I wish I would have had it before I was licensed. So whenever we watch that one, I'm just gonna like highly recommend that you be on because I'm not gonna record it. Okay. So that is that. Let's go ahead and switch gears. I will. So we're gonna go ahead and hi, baby. We're gonna go ahead and switch gears and go over into the IUL beatdown. Let's see. Oh, I have to type in the password. Daniel trying to be fancy, protecting stuff with passwords. So with this IUL beat down, I really want to do this so that we can gain confidence. I don't know what office Andrea's in. Okay. I want to show this to build our confidence, guys. So that as we're getting in contact with these different life insurance agents that sell these super shitty products. Sorry, baby, close your ears. That like sell these really, really bad products, that you guys feel confident in what we do for people, right? And what we do for people is so important because I know whenever I was new, I knew cash value was bad, but I didn't know how to communicate it. And I didn't have like any examples of why this was bad. Right. So I want to do this training specifically today, because like I say often, IULs, it's whole life, it's a pig, right? It's cash value, but now in 2023, 2024, it has lipstick on it. It's just trying to be made pretty, but it's not because it's the same product. And like Coach Jared would say, if you shine a turd, it's still shit, right? You can shine a turd, but it's still shiny shit. Shiny shit. D gets on my nerves. So, so that's how I feel about cash value. That's how I feel about IULs. Where did he put it now? God dang it, Daniel. He over here doing too much, y'all. All right, I'm gonna share my screen. We need to go back to that napkin presentation, baby, because that's the one. It's the one and the two. Doesn't.
Yep. Napkin presentation on investments.
All right, yeah, we need
Simplify
that.
explaining it
Where am I at? Because I definitely left my charger at home.
for your computer.
I did.
It's right here. Mine is right here.
Oh,
You can use it.
sweet. I need that. I didn't even think about it.
Yep.
Thank
I
you.
ended up leaving everything here yesterday.
Thank God.
All righty. And what we're going to do is, first off, let me give you a couple of warnings for some of y'all's training style, okay? I'm not your traditional trainer. I don't like to teach the way that they teach in class. I like to teach the way that you learn in life. So you may hear me get a little bit fired up about this because I absolutely hate these products. You might hear me say a couple of swear words. I highly apologize if that offends you, but it's going to happen. I see some of y'all really like the playlist. I will give you all the playlists as well. But listen, I'm going to get into this and we're going to beat this thing down because there's a couple of problems with Index Universal Life. The first problem is that the people who sell it typically don't understand it. Okay. And I found that more people who sell the product today understand it even less than when it first came out back in the 80s into the 90s. It's become a trendy product that nobody really gets. Okay. The second thing is the competition. Well, let me rephrase, the opposition of people who sell it, the companies, I'm sure you guys know the names, you know about the World Financial Groups, you know about the people helping people, the PHPs, you know about these people selling these products. They think they're smarter than you are. Personally, that offends me because they're not. But we have some rules and regulations we got to abide by, and we can't fight with these people over social media the way we might want to. Well, we can fight them, though, is across the kitchen table. So I'm going to teach you guys, how to read these products to the point where you read them and know them better than they know them. And I promise you, 9 times out of 10, when you come across somebody who sold this, you can read it and understand it not better than they can. Most of these agents have not a single clue on what the hell they're talking about. On the other side of it, there's a better way. And I think most of you on here are fully aware of how Primerica systems work. We all know about buy term and invest the difference, but some of y'all don't know truly how much better it is. And I'm going to break that down for you as well. This is going to be an interactive meeting, so feel free to, voice some things in the chat if you have questions. At the end, I am going to open it up for an unrecorded Q&A, just to give you guys a little bit of time to get some clarity. But we're going to do this thing. So if everybody's ready, go ahead and give me some kind of reaction, throw it up, send a chat, do an emoji, give me something, and we'll make this thing happen. Now, understand as well that the final reason why I thought this was important is because the majority of people sold these products are Black and brown. All right. Don't let the light skin fool you. I am Black and brown. My dad is Puerto Rican. My mom is African American. So I've seen how it affects both communities. And it's one of the worst products I've ever seen sold. Not just the insurance products, one of the worst products ever sold to our people. And we got to do something about it. So I am going to pull up a policy for you guys. We are going to take a live policy that I personally witnessed, audited, and overcame, and we are going to kill it. Again, if you have questions or if you have comments, please interact in the group chat. Your energy feeds my energy. It's going to be very helpful for me. All right. So, first things first, where is this policy coming from? So what we have on the table here is an index.
Pause before we move forward. As he's going through this policy, I have a copy of it. So if you guys want it so that you can and I'll send this video so that you can watch this video and go along with the policy so that you can learn how to break it down as well, because that's what I did. So if you want that, just drop it in the chat and we'll make that happen.
Index Universal Life Insurance policy from Transamerica. This was sold by a PHP agent to a nurse. Okay, this nurse is a 25-year-old female African American who was finally making some money. How many of you guys have gotten to a point in your life where you finally started making some money and immediately somebody had their hand out, right? Well, that's what this agent in particular was doing. They saw that this young woman finally had some money coming in. She's a travel nurse. I think you all know how much travel nurses were making during this pandemic, and they decided to take advantage of this young woman. So I saw this policy on a training appointment. So this is a key lesson. Most of the time you find these is going to be when you're training a new recruit. Okay, you guys got to get across the kitchen table with somebody else, because that's how you're going to find these policies more and more and more. And so we pulled up this policy, and I want to highlight the first problem. Some of you guys are great at this, and so I don't want to offend anybody and make it sound like I know more than you. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. But for those of you who are not super familiar with how to identify what you're looking at, The first sign of a bad policy is how long the title is. Okay, the longer the name, the worse it is. So this is a flexible premium adjustable life insurance with an index account option. That is a mouthful. Okay, so this is an IUL, an indexed universal life. Now, universal life is its own thing. It's a separate product. Index universal life is a version of that. And some people would say it's an upgrade. Obviously, not the case, but that's what's being sold as the hot flavor of the year right now. So let's look into this policy real quick. Now, first and foremost, when you're talking to a client, here's one of the tips I want to give you. Before you attack the policy, you need to get on the side of the client. You need the client to trust you. Now, they may already do that, but if this is somebody you don't know that well, one of the things you want to avoid doing is attacking the other company and attacking the other agent, because if it looks like it's just a bicker between two companies fighting for business, they don't trust either one of you. Okay, they don't want to do business with anybody if it's just about fighting. What you want to do is appeal to their reason and appeal to their emotions. One of the things you do is say, hey, you know what, Mr. and Mrs. Client, obviously you're a very intelligent person. You would never buy something that would harm you if you knew better, right? Absolutely, of course I wouldn't. So the only way you could ever get involved in something that was harmful is if somebody deceived you, right? And they're like, well, right, exactly. So I want to ask you a question. Have you ever read this policy? Well, no, I don't think I've ever read it. Okay. Well, my next question is, if you were to crack it out and look at it, could you read it? Does this look like something you could read without some help? And the answer is usually no. And there's a reason for that. These policies are written purposely to be difficult to read. And that's, again, for the client and for you. It's for any competing agent to not know what they're looking at. You guys got to learn this stuff so you never run into this problem. So once you've done that with the client, now they're in a situation where they're doubtful of what they know. And your job is to say, well, listen, I completely understand, because even though I'm licensed, we are not fully trained in licensing to read these. The only reason I know how to read them is because I'm part of a great company that has taught us to teach you. Boom. Now you have trust, and now we can move forward with what's wrong with this policy. So let's identify the things you want to look at first. First thing is you got to look at what is the person you're dealing with. So this is a 25-year-old preferred non-smoker. Okay, so we already know this person probably is qualified for a good premium. Would y'all agree? She's probably not going to have a high cost. Look at the riders as well, LTC and TI. This is terminal illness and long-term care. One of the other major factors of Index Universal Life is they always try to throw in these extras, okay? Extras being quote unquote living benefits, long-term care, terminal illness. There's a lot of things that they'll toss on. Luckily, this client only had 2 items, but these are extra insurances to not only drive up the premium, but the commissions, okay? This is a commission grab, pure and simple. It's a commission grab when they pull these out. So we have a 25-year-old non-smoker. Now, I want you guys to tell me in the chat what y'all think about that premium. So this is a $500,000 policy with a monthly premium of $247 a month. Now, I'm going to go back. Maybe y'all didn't hear me the first.
Yeah, how much is your life insurance?
I honestly couldn't even tell you. Not $200, $147, I think.
Oh my God.
147, and it's 2 mil.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, I just had to say that because I'm like, what in the world? Okay, I'm pressing play. This is wild.
First time. This is a 25-year-old female non-smoker, preferred health.
What
with
the
a $247 a month premium at $500,000. She also has, if y'all remember from class, she has option B, which is increasing death benefits. So option A is they don't get both when they die. They get the insurance or the cash like regular whole life. But option B comes at a cost. And the death benefit will increase to match with the cash value. So the lie is that they will receive both the value of the cash and the death benefit. It's not true, but that is what they tell people, okay? So understand, not only is this policy already expensive, it has the potential to become more expensive, okay? So that's what we're looking at here. Now, I'm going to give you guys a quick secret. Now, how many of y'all raise your hands or do something if you've ever heard that these agents totally disagree with buy term and invest the difference? Like, they're like, well, people won't do it. They, what about, term insurance is this, and, if they won't save money, you have to, people aren't investing, all that, right? I'm going to give y'all a secret to the industry that maybe you never heard. And I want you to take this across the kitchen table everywhere you go. There is no such thing as permanent life insurance. The only insurance in existence is term. Now that's like, well, that can't be true. I'm looking at a policy that's not term, right? Let me tell you why. What is whole life, or what is cash value? What is index universal? What makes it what it is? You have an insurance policy paired with a cash account. What happens when you remove the cash account? What are you left with? An insurance policy. But that insurance policy is a term, because there's no such thing as permanent life insurance. There's permanent life insurance policies, but there's no such thing as permanent life insurance. So all insurance is term. Now, when they combine the cash account, they receive a premium from you, correct? What do they do with it? What do they do with your premium? They got to pay for the cost of insurance first, yes? And that policy is a what? It's a term. And then they have to do something with the rest of the premium. They put that money into what? Into their general account, which is full of stocks, bonds, real estate, cryptocurrency. Sounds like a mutual fund to me. So when your insurance company receives premium from you, they buy term and invest the difference, and then they tell you not to do it. Now, I want you to say that to anybody who will challenge it, and I want them to prove you wrong. Prove to me that your company is not buying term and investing the difference on the back end. You can't. So buy term and invest the difference is the only option, because it's the only option that they use too. Boom. You didn't know that. All right. Now let's look at another problem with this. So the death benefit, okay? You always look at how they'll describe payouts. The actual payable amount on death may be decreased by policy withdrawals or any loan balance. We already know this. We know if you borrow from the cash and you don't pay it back, they subtract it. But what is the point of cash that you can't touch? What is the point of cash you can't touch? I can save up all day, but if I touch it and then I lose value elsewhere, what is the point? So remember, when they sell these are sold as investments. They're not supposed to be. We all know that that's illegal, but they do it anyway. But remember, if you are selling a policy with the idea of it being a retirement program, well, why am I punished when I start using it for retirement? Why is my family punished? Because if I take this money and I don't pay it back, they lose the money that I was going to leave behind for them. Correct? So even if all these other bullet points are very sexy, that truth is still there. If I touch the money, it becomes a liability. Okay? All right, so let's look at some of these negatives. Okay, so that first highlight here says the premium will be guaranteed through age 121, and the maximum allowable is $6,646. What that means is the most that they can charge this person per year is $6,646, because if they charge her more, this will become a MEC, a modified endowment contract. And what that means, I know this is a term from class that you haven't heard in forever. A modified endowment contract means that you no longer have a life insurance policy, you have an investment, and you can no longer call this an insurance policy. And if that happens, somebody's in trouble. Okay, so these guys know what they're doing. They know the loopholes to keep pretending these are investments without legally being obligated to abide by the same rules as those of us who are investment licensed. And why would they tell somebody to pay that much per year? Well, you gotta fund your retirement. If you want to really make some money, you got to put more in. It's an easy selling point. Okay. The minimum monthly no lapse means if she pays, so remember, it's a flexible premium. So the theory is, well, if you fall on hard times, you can pay less. The minimum to not lapse is $179.58. Why? Because if she pays less than that too long, the cash value will be eaten and the policy will lapse. Okay, remember that. These things still use your cash to pay for the increase in cost. If you're not careful, it will happen automatically. Okay, so they're already having this woman pay $247 a month, but under certain circumstances, extra premiums may be required to prevent lapse. Is this already sounding a little sketchy to you guys? Okay, so let's go to the next page. Now, I know there's a lot of verbiage here. I know there's a lot of language, and it's the legalese. That's what they do on purpose. You just have to start digging in. Okay, hopefully I'm giving you some things to look for. So you want to also look for a participation rate. Okay, this is one of the key factors. What's the participation rate? So when these policies are put into action, they act as though they are part of the index that they're investing in. So let's say it's the S&P 500. Now, these policies do not directly invest in any index at all. This is a mirror image of the index. What's happening is the insurance company is receiving the premiums. They're putting the money in their account, like I mentioned, and they're watching the S&P 500 and what it's doing. And because they're receiving so much premium, they're able to gauge what that is doing and then match that in what looks like your account in the index fund. So you're not actually investing in an index at all. You're just putting your money in an insurance policy, and they're crediting you based off of the S&P 500 or whatever index they're using. So the participation rate is a cap. How much will they allow you to participate? Now, most of them today say 100%, but I've run into some that say 75 or 80%, which means you're only going to get up to 80% of whatever the returns are. In this case, though, you're going to get 100%. So it's important that you at least know what the participation rate is. Now, I'm going to actually show you the numbers here on a graph, but you want to also look for these red flags: the monthly deductions, the expense charges, and the surrender charges. Okay, these policies are riddled with fees. Okay, and you got to understand, and remember, this is all basic math. If I'm investing money and I'm paying for insurance and I'm also paying fees, is there a lot left over from my cash? And if more fees and more insurance costs are occurring, I'm actually losing the amount of cash that I can contribute. So you got to understand that while on paper they can sell this as a really good option, it doesn't hold up to scrutiny when you start doing some math. And one thing the African American community has always been good at is math, right? So you guys got to make sure you pull out that money math skill you were born with and use it in these situations. Because math is math. Men lie, women lie, numbers do not. And this is one of those problems. So you have to understand that there are going to be extra costs associated with it. And you need to be able to explain clearly to your client what those costs are. Now, I want you to read that. Now, this policy was not sold as an infinite banking thing. Now, that's a whole other argument, but this is the same type of policy that would be used as such if somebody wanted to. This is one of the things that people say to sell this thing as an infinite banking. Sometimes they just sell it for index universal, the loan interest. What these people will tell you is that you can borrow the money and it will still earn interest on the borrowed amount. Okay, it's a trick, really. What it is it's the same as though if you took out an equity line of credit on your home. You didn't withdraw any liquid cash from your home, but you did borrow against the value. So in theory, if the market goes up, the value of your home could still go up, but you've withdrawn some of that value. What people are not realizing, though, is that is only real on paper. Once you actually start liquidating something, that goes away. Okay, so it's an on paper thing where it looks like, yeah, well, my value is still growing even though I borrowed against it. But that's not the case if you died. If you die, that stops happening and the value is subtracted from your death benefit. Okay, so understand that it's the selling point, but it's an illusion. And so what they're saying is no matter what, you're going to be credited at least 2%. That's essentially what this is suggesting. Okay. We're going to skip past a couple of things because I want to get to the juicy stuff. Okay, so here's where we need to figure out some math. Now, this is a great thing for y'all to go ahead and screenshot because, and all of you should have access to this policy. I put it in the group chat. But this is a point that you need to understand. What are the fees? How much is this costing me? And this is a very, very busy picture. Okay, so I totally understand if this is confusing. But I'm gonna try to make it simple for you. There's two things you have to look at: the guaranteed and non-guaranteed numbers. Now, which numbers do you think they sell? Exactly. The non-guaranteed, the one that looks the best. But what should you depend on? In any scenario that you're investing or putting money away, what should you mentally be depending on and expecting? The guaranteed. So while they always sell the non-guaranteed, I'm going to combat the guaranteed because that's what your company is actually promising. The other one is maybe, right? It's whispering sweet nothings, but are you really serious about it? One of my agents told me that this page, the way she remembered it, is she's like, if you're out dating, there's two types of guys. There's the gentleman and then there's the F-boy. And the F-boy is going to say everything you want to hear. Okay, so understand the non-guaranteed, that's the F-boy talking. Okay, y'all know what I'm actually saying. So here's what you need to look at. The guaranteed interest, the guaranteed minimum is 0.75%. So that is the minimum guaranteed return that they're going to tell the client that they can have. I mean, what's the point of that? You can go to a savings account and get that, correct? Now let's look at the base policy fee. The base policy fee guaranteed is $12 a month. The premium expense charge is 6% a year. The loan interest rate charge is 3%, and the credited amount is 2%. So remember I said that they will say, oh, well, if you borrow it, you still earn interest. Well, you're earning 1% less than you would if you didn't borrow it. You seeing what I'm saying? The administrative charge is $1,000.
Crazy.
Now, how's $1,000 spread out? It doesn't exactly say. But the non-guarantee looks a whole lot more attractive. It says that your cap rate is 13.75%, which means you can earn a maximum of 13.75. And the fees you see are slightly reduced on the non-guaranteed. Again, the problem with that is which one can you be sure is happening at any given time? You really can't. So just do the math on the guaranteed. So if she's paying $247 a month, you got to subtract $12 in fees, 6% a year divided by 12, so whatever that is per month. And then you have to take that expense, that administrative charge. I figured it was actually per year, and I confirmed that. So take the $1,000 a year and subtract that. Now you have the monthly expenses, and we haven't even touched the cost of insurance. So whoever's doing math on here, actually go ahead and throw that in the chat. What is the expense rate on this guaranteed with all that? Okay, and I know it might take you a second, so when you get that, pull it up. But you can see that a lot less money is going to cash than originally thought. And does anybody need me to go back on that? Everybody got that image? We good? Okay. Now, this policy is using the S&P 500 as a baseline, so we're not going to look at the other indexes like the Euro stocks. That's not necessary because they're not using that. But here's the index information you need to know. And again, a very busy slide. I'm going to do my best to simplify this for you guys. But here we have the guaranteed numbers again. So we have guaranteed minimum 0.75. Some of these guarantee 0, but this is 0.75. The cap rate's 13.7. So what these guys are suggesting, and they're only looking at these in certain increments, they're saying that the average in the index, the S&P, has been 9.43% over the last 5 years. And they're saying it's even smaller over the last 25. I had to challenge this because that didn't look right. So I actually went back and looked. These numbers are actually untrue. The average in the S&P over the last 25 years has actually been closer to 10%. Where they got 8.12, I'm not actually sure. In fact, I even called our Franklin Templeton partners to confirm, and they confirmed what I saw. I have no idea where they got this number from, but it's a lie.
Oh,
It's a lie. So that's weird. I don't know. But anywho,
man, lie.
so let's look at what the selling point is. They're telling you that if the market is down, you won't lose money. Okay, that's one of the biggest selling points. The market's down, you're not going to lose money. The market's up, you're going to get up to 13.75 gains. So you can see in the year 2000, the market was down 12.66%. But they're telling the client, well, if you had had your money with us, you would have only been, you would have actually been positive 0.75%. Okay. Now, what do we know about the problem with this type of language? Who's a securities license on here? Throw it in the chat if you have a securities license. And if you don't, get your damn securities license. Okay. There's a lot of African Americans in Primerica who are not equipped to buy term and invest the difference. We cannot keep doing that. You have to have your securities license to do the job and to get residual income. Okay. Get your license. So anyway, the selling point is that it's a bad thing when the market goes down, that you're losing money, that this is going to be, I see Breanna passed her SIE. Good job. Excellent. Excellent. Keep going. They're saying that if the market is down, you could lose your money. And so they're constantly selling the idea of fear. You guys could lose money. Putting your money in the market is a dangerous proposition. Don't do that. While their company is currently doing that, by the way. But anywho, so here's the thing. And I want you to ask this question too. Always ask this question. Do you have a securities license? If you do, if the answer is no, then the response back is always, then are you legally qualified to tell me whether I should or should not invest in anything? Sometimes y'all just got to come out and say what you need to say. And I know some of y'all are vocal in your real life with everybody. You got to be vocal across the kitchen table. If you're not qualified to advise me on this topic, why are you doing it? Okay. Now, I want you to ask another question. Can you show me a mutual fund in the last 85 years that has ever lost any money? And those of you securities license, test it out. Go look. There's no such thing as a mutual fund that's lost money. And what I mean by losing money, let me clarify. Your cost basis, the money that has been deposited, is the money you actually have at risk. Okay, whatever your profits are, profits will fluctuate. That's true. But your cost basis, I've never in my career seen anyone lose what they put in. I've never seen it happen. I've never seen a mutual fund have it happen. So show me a mutual fund that's lost money. You can't. So I want you guys to understand what the problem is here. So yes, it looks good. Oh, the market was down 12%, 10%, 23%, and I was still positive. But when the market was up 26%, you only got 13. When the market was up, now look how many times the market was up above 13%. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 times in this graph where the market was up more than 13.75%. And in the times when it was down, for somebody dollar cost averaging, I saw somebody mention that in the chat, somebody putting in a monthly contribution, buying low, buying small, the gains are substantial when the market goes up. So you're not catching the lows and you're missing the peak of the highs. Why is that a good thing? Does that make sense to anybody? Why is it a good thing to not catch the sale and then miss the high point? That's like saying I bought my house and I could only sell it for $300,000, but houses around me are selling for $1 million. That makes no sense. So it's a fear and a hope that they don't understand how money works. Okay. So let's get to the other problem. The four rules of cash value still apply. So in the first 1 to 5 years in most of these policies, there is zero cash when you're making deposits. So I want to ask a question. How many years is this a zero cash? No, it's not 5. It's 10. It's 10 because what is that? That's the guaranteed assumption. Now they're going to tell you, yeah, it's the guarantee, but it's unlikely that we'll actually see that. I don't care how likely it is. If they decide that that's what's likely, that's what's guaranteed. Is that right or right? Now the non-guaranteed says 5 years, but let me ask you the question. Are you happy with 5 years of no money either way? Guys, do the math. $247 a month for 5 years, and you have zero balance. That is like living with a guy who don't pay no bills and drops you off at work in your car to go see another girl. That is a bad investment.
Had that happen before.
What is that? Okay, that's $16,000 down the drain. But look, remember, she has option B. Look at the death benefit. The death benefit is rising. Why? Because they're purchasing more insurance on the back end. Looks like you got cash, but you don't. Based on the guaranteed assumption in this policy, if the company chooses to actually do the guaranteed amount, this policy would implode, would eat itself in the 39th year. She's 25. So 39 years from now, she would have no life insurance. If it's the non-guaranteed, then it will last through the 86th year of the policy. But again, we cannot guarantee what they will guarantee except the guarantee. I can't depend on the non-guaranteed numbers because I don't know how true those are. They could change.
All right, line.
All right.
Illustration.
So, am I losing anybody? I know it's a lot, but everybody still with me? We're good? Okay. All right, so we're looking again at the guaranteed, and this is a tabular detail. This is essentially showing what the cash value is and the surrender charges. So at age 41, 16 years into the policy, the guaranteed, she would have $7,500 of cash. That's her cash value. That's what she could borrow against. That's her potential retirement supplement. That's her infinite banking, be my own bank, borrow the money, and start my business money, apparently. And look at the cash value on the far right. You see how it's gone up exactly the amount of the cash, right? So that's all well and good. Let's get to age 51, and we see something weird happen. We see that the cash value has been increasing, and at age 51, it increases for the very last time. And then it starts to go down a little bit, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. And we're starting to see a problem here. And also, look at the death benefit. What's happening to the death benefit as the cash becomes absorbed? So that option B, it actually does not count unless the cash is in the account. They're not getting more life insurance. They're getting a mirror image of the cash. If the cash is gone, so is the death benefit. You do not get two items, you get one. Okay, buy a pair of shoes, you get one, you get the left or the right, you don't get both. So we're seeing here the implosion of the policy. These guys are bold enough to write this shit in the contract and expect you not to read it. That is bold as hell. Does anybody think that's bold as hell? In the comments, please say that's bold as hell. You wrote exactly how I'm going to screw you over, and I know you're not going to read it. And at age 64, if she has the guaranteed amount, she has no coverage, no insurance, and it's all gone. And she's about to retire a year from now, hopefully. That's what's guaranteed in this policy. So again, I'm not about to go back and forth with you, agent, about the non-guaranteed numbers. Couldn't give a shit less about what the non-guaranteed numbers are. Your company is guaranteeing that at age 64, she has nothing, unless she pays $6,600 a year. I'm not okay with this. Now, I want you guys to take a note of something else. Because some of these agents will say, well, this agent just didn't do this correctly. They didn't structure the policy properly. Have y'all heard that before? You know, if you had a properly structured index universal life, then it wouldn't work this way. I want you to find one agent who can produce a properly structured one. I've never found one. And here's the problem. And here's the thing. I don't care if you're the 1% out of 99% of agents, because that's what these guys are saying. They're saying, I'm the one out of a million that are good. They're all idiots, but I'm the smart one. It's narcissistic as hell, and it's a lie. But let's be clear on this. If the product needs a person who is so intelligent that they can properly structure these, the product is bad. If it takes a rocket scientist to make it work for somebody, it's bad at its core. So I don't really care if it's properly structured, whatever the hell that's supposed to mean. The product itself is bad because it shouldn't require manipulation to become good. All right. So let's go ahead and look at the non-guaranteed, because they're going to say it. They're going to, oh, well, this is the real one. Okay, well, non-guaranteed, there's still ain't no money for the first 5 years. There's still ain't no money the first 5 years. I am paying $29.64 a year, and I have $0 in my account. Justify it for me. Like I'm 5.
I'm sorry, it's not funny.
Can anybody on this call explain to me why that makes sense? Can you sell me on why I should be okay with you having $0 for 5 years? Because if you can't do it, how the hell can they do it? They don't.
Let
They
me
don't
tell you
tell
what they
you.
say. Let me tell you what they say. They said, because this is for the long haul. This is investing for the long term. And I'm like, what? It didn't go anywhere.
Besides their pockets.
Oh my God. Sorry.
This.
Pause that one.
It's not in the conversation.
Oof.
And they hate when it becomes part of the conversation.
Yes. This is where
All right.
comes in. This is why we got to be confident.
And so here's the other thing. And obviously with the non-guaranteed, again, we're still in the non-guaranteed. You can see the cash value growth looks a lot more attractive. Well, by age 60, I have $100,000 of cash. And you can see they're matching it with the insurance. So I have 100,000 cash. I got an extra 109,000 in insurance. But what age is this woman at that point? She's 60 years old. Yes. It took you 60 years to get 100K. It took you 60 years to get 100K. I really think you could have just put that away in cash and still ended up with more. Am I wrong? That's a whole lot of nothing to me, right? So again, I'm not impressed. I ain't impressed with none of this stuff. And you better not be impressed about it either. Don't even be intimidated by it because it don't make sense. So by age 86, you can see that this thing has been decreasing. They got $10,000 to their name if she happens to live to age 86. She got 10 grand. On the non-guaranteed, this is the sexy version. And she has an extra 10 grand in insurance. So again, the death benefit does go up to match the cash. It also goes down to match the cash. How long has this thing been decreasing in order to reach 10 grand? If she would start off at 100, you see what I'm saying? This is a long trend downward, and that doesn't include withdrawals. Remember, you're supposed to use this money, yes? If you're supposed to use it, then this is going to go down even faster. Because again, I've never seen anyone borrow against the policy and actually pay it back. Have you? Mm-hmm. I've had one person tell me that they did, but they couldn't present to me a policy where they proved it. I ain't never seen nobody borrow it and pay it back personally. I've audited quite a few policies. All right, so let's get to there's a couple more things I got here. I'm not gonna hold y'all too long. Maybe I didn't highlight it. Here we go. So one thing to note too, the long-term care, the living benefits, you got to understand what you're dealing with there. You have to ask whether these are negotiated or non-negotiated benefits. What that means is there a set amount I'm covered for up, like straight up, or do I have to wait till I have to file a claim to figure out what I'm covered for? And most of these are not are negotiated, which means that you have to wait until you file a claim to find out what you can get. So why am I okay with Primerica having a terminal illness benefit in our term? Because I'm criticizing it here. Why am I not criticizing it with us? Because ours is negotiated. I'm sorry, ours is non-negotiated.
It is what
ours is defined.
Yes.
Okay. It is set. You either get 40% or up to 70%, depending on whether you have waiver of premium. And there's a cap of 400,000. We know it off the top of our heads. It's exactly what it is. Okay. So the reason that that's important is because, you know, if they know what they're getting into ahead of time, they're not going to be hit with a surprise later. And with a negotiated benefit, they will get hit with a surprise. Promise you. Okay. I misspoke earlier. The 7 pay amount is actually 88,600, not 6,600. This is the amount maximum she could pay per year to avoid becoming a MEC. So if they did want to make this into an infinite banking strategy, this is the amount of premium they could charge and get away with it. The only way to avoid that is to have her purchase more insurance, which then increases the amount of cost of insurance, which allows them to pay more premiums. So again, when you see these people buying more and more coverage, it's to keep them out of hot water, because if they don't, the client will not pass the 7-pay test. So you got to make sure that you are aware of that. These policies all list what that is. Okay. And so that is the policy. Okay. I know that's a lot. I apologize for the length of it, but that's what these things look like. They're that complicated. So now I want to simplify it and go back to a world that we are very clear on. What's our alternative, right? What would we do instead? And this R is easier to understand. So let me show you what we got. I ran a quote with this, and I did use our next gen product. So the client is 2 years older at this point, okay? But luckily her health has not changed. I showed her, hey, $500,000. And this is the monthly amount she's used to, $247 a month. We know she's used to that, yeah? Our next gen premium for this woman, she qualified for a little bit of an upgraded health rating, was $40.84 a month. She's actually class 3. She's not even class 2. Or was she class 2? I don't know, actually. Maybe you're right. I'm pretty sure she was class 3. Either way, $40 a month. $40 a month. I gotta let y'all sit on that for a moment. $40 a month. Oh, so you got it right there. Okay, so it is class 2. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Matt. So she's got substantially more money to use for something else. We got $206 a month exactly to invest. So let's get into what Primerica does best. We helped her invest it. Now, I'm just going to show you guys the cap that Primerica would do, the 9%, the conservative number. Because again, I'd rather fight with the agents on a conservative number. If I can beat you with conservative numbers, what could I beat you with in real life, right? So let's look at the conservative numbers. 30, and this is a 35-year term. Now, here's another key point of Primerica term. Okay, so what we have first off is you have 35 years. She's 61 years old at this point. I want you to look at the $500,000. You see how it drops? Some of y'all don't know this. At the end of Primerica term, where all these agents say, well, what are you going to do when the policy runs out? We do have a decreasing end of term option, which lets them reduce coverage over periods of time until age 100, while simultaneously keeping their premium the exact same. So her coverage did not disappear at 35 years into this policy, okay? Now, and also I want you to understand there's a 5-year gap here. So it didn't go from 500 to 71 in 1 year. That's a 5-year trend, okay? Just so you know that. But look at her investment dollars. $611,000 at a conservative 9%, 35 years into this policy, where the last guys were going to have her with $100,000. And if this is in a Roth IRA, which somebody already beat me to it, exactly. What are you looking at? What are you looking at? Tax-free. Now, these guys will tell you that this is all tax-free, but here's the problem. How is it going to be tax-free if you die and you left a balance? What happens to the, is it still tax-free if you borrow from the cash and die? No. If you have an outstanding loan against your policy and you died, that balance is taxable as income, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
It's tax deferred. So this is potentially tax-free. Now let's look at her getting all the way to age 75. She still has enough insurance to bury herself. Okay, she still leave her family a little insurance. But why does she need it? Why does she need it? She's sitting here at $223,000, $2 million.
So cute.
Right? Y'all see that?
You said who called?
She's sitting there at $2 million.
Like she said,
How crazy is that?
if you don't answer me back, boy, what is wrong
Right?
with you?
That's what we're talking about from the perspective of understanding how all this stuff works. Okay. And this is not including anything else we could have done for her. This is not including helping her with debt. This isn't including saving money on her car insurance. This isn't factoring in, maybe she spends too much money eating out as a travel nurse.
That's me. Okay.
What else could we add to this?
I can read it.
And let me ask you this. Is this easy enough to understand for a 25, 27-year-old who's busy? What's easier for her to comprehend? You understand what I'm talking about? So is it sexy? I mean, I guess not. If you don't think wealth is sexy, but it's not a flavor of the month. It's tried and true. It's been working for 45 years and quiet as kept. It's been working for these insurance companies in the background for over 100. They just don't want you to know. They just don't want you to know. Okay. So that's what I got for you guys as far as information. This is a great time. I'm actually going to stop the recording here in just a second to give y'all an opportunity to do some Q&A. But that's how we.
I hate that he doesn't like record Q&A. That's so stupid. Now y'all can come off mute. Come on, y'all. Tell me how y'all feeling. Let me stop this share. What did y'all learn? Yes, I'm gonna share all the stuff because yeah, what y'all get from that? How are you guys feeling? Y'all stuck through it.
I would say I feel good. And what I got out of one of them, he was like, you need to get your securities license. It's very important to have that. And then also like to make sure, that you are getting like the knowledge and everything. That way when you do present to your clients, you can educate them on the things that you've learned. And if they are, like in a bad policy or this and that, you can explain and show them, hey, and just let them see for themselves, and make that decision on their own.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's good. That's really good. Just like you said, it's really important to increase your knowledge whenever it comes to products. So again, that's what Saturdays are for. It's like, how do we increase our product knowledge so that we're confident, right? Would you agree that, this training today probably boosted your confidence some?
Yes, ma'am. Definitely did.
Absolutely.
Like it's very important, and what you always tell us, but is you can't miss trainings. You can't miss because you're gonna miss like the secret ingredient. So you really just never know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny because, we hop on Brandon's calls every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 8. And Jared is like, you spend like how much of your time on these calls, because he don't understand because he's not immersed, right? Like he here, but he not immersed. So he's like, I hear the same thing. Like, they talk about getting codes. But just like I had typed in the chat, I was like, this is embarrassing. Like, I don't see how many codes I got. I'm like, I would have never got the answer for that if I wouldn't have hopped on the training to know that this is something that we need to hyper focus on, right? Like knowing the numbers.
Yeah.
Exactly. And even the day before that, I learned something else. And I was like, damn, I didn't know that, right? So it's like, yeah, being a VP, you think you know everything. No, I never thought that, by the way. I was like, oh shit. That's when I knew I didn't know anything. When I became a VP, right? No, I'm kidding. But showing up, why are you nodding your head like
so
Thor?
hard?
Like, what is wrong with you? Anyway, showing up to trainings, they're so important because you never know everything. And it could be that 1, 2 pieces or gems or permission or whatever it is you need to grow your business, you get that in trainings. And I was like, these trainings ain't even just for me, it's for my people. And it's for the
Right.
newest person. And this is how we grow and progress as a team. And I say this every single time. If you're not showing up, you can't expect your team to show up. Because whenever you show up and you're present, your team knows, oh, this is an expectation. It's an expectation to show up, and this is how we grow in excellence, right? So
Money church.
right, which Money Church is trademarked, so we can't use it. I
she
know. Yeah, I mean, she not hating. She wrote a book and she put it in there, and she's like, let me. And she's an attorney, so yeah, she's like, let me let me trademark my intellectual property is what she did. Yeah. Just so I was like, yeah, we
Money
can't.
revival then.
Money revival. There we go. And so these obviously are really important. And one of the 7 fundamentals, whenever we were at convention, Hector Lamarck, he'd been out of the business 30 plus years, but had a standing ovation whenever he came, like a beyond standing ovation whenever he came to the stage, because he hasn't graced us with his presence in over 30 years.
We was
So
in the same room, like
as goosebumps
Like-
right now, right?
Like we wasn't watching him on the screen no more. We was in the room.
Primerica legend, forget a famous,
Yeah.
right? Like we were in the room with freaking Hector Lamarck. Like that's a whole thing, right? But one thing that he teaches is being able to communicate and knowing your products. Being able to communicate and knowing your products and knowing that you are the expert. And it is our responsibility to guide people, because if they had the answers, they would already be doing it. So improve and increase our product knowledge, increase our product knowledge, because again, I'm gonna be a broken record on this. This is where our confidence begins to increase and improve as well. Right. So even with IUL Beatdown, I feel like that is next to none whenever it comes to training. It is one of my most favorite IUL breakdowns. He even did another IUL breakdown, and I was like, this still ain't as good as the IUL beatdown, right? Like the breakdown and the beatdown is the difference. But does anybody else have anything they want to add or take away from that?
When I hear him break them down, I be like, okay, pimping is pimping. Cause I mean, the way that they are here.
Are you talking to us or are you talking?
I guess I was kind of talking to Andrea.
Okay, I was like, are you talking to us or are we talking to everybody?
I mean, everybody too. I mean, you think, like I said, you heard me say it. I felt like they was some big pimps. Why'd you do that?
I mean, because you were talking.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it won't go that far, but the charger.
I was like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about the charger.
Yeah.
But no, I was telling Bree, I was like, oh, they some smooth pimps for real, because they got people like paying all this money, bringing them the money so they can go and do whatever they do with it, giving them a little piece, kind of like a job, you know. Then you do all the work, they get all the money, they tell you how much you can get, they tell you better come back and do it again. You ain't on that corner, they slapping you around.
I'm not about to fight with her. I can't.
I'm just saying.
I can't.
I'm learning the whole shit. We trying to be out here
Premium whores. Yeah, we are premium
Yeah.
whores. So
Premium hordes. Yep.
it works. Andre, how'd you pass that exam?
strippers is how Andre passed the exam. It's very
Okay.
true.
I'm just saying,
You ain't lying to you strippers.
learning the
They did what they
learning
needed to
understanding.
do. You
Doing
can pass.
something different.
You said what, Nika?
They did what they needed to do so he could pass. You know,
I know you gotta make it relatable.
strippers.
That is so funny. But I'm saying, if you really think about it, I don't know about y'all, but I love watching like American Gangster and stuff. I haven't been able to watch it in the last couple of years because I've been so
Because we've been working.
like versed in here. But
Yeah.
when I
It
watch
gets you
it, I'm like,
pumped.
dang, that's how they was doing us.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Give me them gangster movies. Get up. Give me pumped. Like, let me go collect this money and insurance.
Collect
But
them. Go get the money.
Go get the money.
go get this money.
It is so true. So one thing that he said in the very beginning was obviously like the longer the name of the policy, the more bullshit is included. And I think as Primerica life insurance representatives, we're not used to all those long ass names. So whenever you see all the letters, sometimes you can get, D had me cracking up.
I'm like, are you sure?
I mean, we used to long ass names in the Black and brown community.
Thank you.
Antoniqua, Tabria.
Yes,
I'm just
I said,
kidding.
No wonder why they were trying to make sure they talked
Don't
to
mind,
us.
yay.
Long
Right.
ass
That's much.
names from the 90s.
Long name, give me 2 middle names and a last name.
Don't
Man,
talk
man,
about me.
like
Don't talk
like
about me.
That's me too.
Sharkeisha.
My
See,
Andrea,
Sharkeisha.
Andrea, Amanda, Andrea.
But I'm just saying they did
Kevin,
long
Stacy.
ass names with these policies.
Your
to
daddy
be able
did
to
Tamika.
pray, like to be, praying on these people with these long
Long
ass
ass
We
names.
can relate.
Yeah, my daughter.
There was
and then
there was
the whole thing.
so there was a girl, her name is Sharkeisha. I'm like, what in the hell?
Oh, it's the one that slapped, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I remember that going viral. It was something about the slap.
Yeah, it went viral like 10, 12 years ago. But that name it just stuck with me forever. I'm like, your parents didn't love you growing up, right?
Maybe they like sharks too.
Yeah, or maybe her daddy's name was.
Maybe they was like, this is a cold world, and everybody out here fishing. At least be a shark. I don't know.
I think what her daddy's name could have been, because you always put like Keisha at the end of it, like
his is Sean, and her mama's is Charnay.
Okay, Sharkeisha, there we go. We just put it together. You got to be creative. These names, they mean something. I'm just letting you know. Most of the time, we think a lot behind the names that we give our kids. So
that's like these policies. It's a lot behind the names.
It's a lot behind the names. Absolutely. So with the LTC, the long-term care, I know that that's something that Kiera probably comes against a lot of the times because she handles healthcare for older people. Right. As far as like, okay, can you come off mute? And I didn't know if you were able. Yeah, her cute girl. I see you,
Right.
sis.
Thank you.
Flat ironed it and everything.
But can you come off mute and just kind of share with us maybe some experiences that you've had with long-term care?
Yes. So I work in healthcare. We send CNAs and PCAs out to clients' homes. And our business outside of long-term care insurance and VA benefits is private pay. For a client to get, and I'm gonna just put this into perspective, for a client to get 24/7 care, that'll run them about $5,300 a week.
Mm-hmm.
So an upwards of $20,000+ a month.
Yes, that's
just around the clock care. That doesn't include wound care, medication management, none of that. So we get a lot of clients that have long-term care insurance, and they pride themselves in the fact that they've paid on this since they were in their early 20s. And then I hate working with them. I hate working with the long-term care insurance policies because there's always a catch. A lot of times they'll call and they'll tell us, oh, our insurance said that they're going to pay for her to get care. And we get the actual policy and we start looking at it, and they'll only pay for $40 a day.
Yep.
So $40, $80, $80 is sometimes like the top. And then not only that, but the client oftentimes has to pay a 90-day retainer. So the insurance won't even kick in until after they pay for 90 days of service.
Yep.
And then we have a 4-hour minimum. So at $30 an hour, you're paying $120 a day.
Yes.
Before they'll even like jump in and pay. And then they make you jump through hoops. Like one of our clients, she's legally blind. She's not able to stand at a stove and cook her food. So they said, well, that, meal prep is one of the things that is a qualifier, but they want you to actually manually feed the client. So although she can't cook on a stove, they won't include the need for meal prep on her care plan. Therefore, she doesn't qualify for services.
That's why a lot of them pay private for, like, I would do like a lot of private care, and they pay out of pocket, like they write a check instead of going through the insurance, because the way that insurance is set up.
Okay, so let's bring it full circle. So there was a point in time that Primerica offered long-term care. So let me tell you why I love this company, right? Because if what we're doing if it does not benefit the client, remember when we said we'll snatch a company off? that
They
will
hate
in
to
a
be with
second.
us, not the other way around.
We used a long-term care. Like I have a
We the
flip
pimps over
chart.
here.
I have a flip chart because I have a lady that I used to live across the street from. She worked for Primerica like in the early 2000s, and they offer long-term care, right? But if you listen to what Kara is saying, it is not in the best interest of the client. So why would we continue to offer something that does not benefit our clients in the long run? So for me, that should give you guys a lot of confidence in how we help people. They're like, no, we're not doing that shit. Like, it don't even make sense, right? So that was good, Kiera. Like, thank you for even sharing that. Dee, thank you for, even like the input, because guys, we have to, like, I'm just like, we have to put people in position to become financially free, financially independent. Because even with that being said, if we help somebody save and invest $1 million, like that helps cover that $5,300 a month. And their money can still be growing and compounding as we take our money for our long-term care. I want to be in position to where I'm able to write a check, right? But we also have to give people that vision. We have to give people that vision. So I'm meeting with somebody on Monday. She just messaged me today because of something I put on my story, and she's like, I really need to get with you. And she's been playing me a little bit, you know how it goes. And I talked to her a couple months ago. She said that she was getting her whole life policy mailed to her. She was like super excited that she had it in place since 2008. So she messages me today and she's like, I really need to get with you. I got my policy, I read through it, and I only have $7,000 saved. Yeah, she's had this policy for 16 years. She has a disabled son and she only has $7,000 saved. And she's like, I'm gonna have to find a babysitter to come up to the office because her son, he's older, but he just can't be left alone. So she's like, I'm gonna have to find a babysitter so I can come up to your office so that you can help me look through this, because she really thought she had it together. She a nurse, Jamie.
What?
Yeah, like she a nurse. She's been a nurse. Like her job is to help people. And she has this policy because she thought it was going to be to take care of her disabled son if something were to happen to her.
I'm glad she finally looked at it because it's,
Yeah. So even with that being said, I was like, girl, I will come to your house if you're open to it. She's like, oh my God, that would be great. So I'm going to go over there on Monday. We're going to look through her policy. We're going to read through it together. We're going to create a strategy that works for her. And we're going to replace that shit because what? 16 years, $7,000, $300 worth of coverage, and it's expensive. Like it's over $100, but she got it 16 years ago. She was 16 years younger, so just, you think people have it together, you know what I mean? Like, not you think, we make this assumption that people have it together. And my thing is, they're just doing the best that they know how. And if we're not the ones to talk to them, then
they're using the resources they have around them.
Yeah.
Those resources might be stick, it might not be brick.
Yeah. Andrea said they're using the
Or they could be
resources that they have around them. The resources might be brick or they might not be brick. They could be grabbing for straw. They could be grabbing for stick. They're only using the resources that they have around them.
That big, that was still gonna come.
Yes, it is.
And
Yeah.
most clients that have long-term care that come through, they were federal employees.
Ah.
Even like it's worse because like you're the government, you work for the government. Love this. Government has bomb benefits and and whenever we break it down, and then we've had clients that Chris, who you visited with, so his mom was on our services and they were on for all of a year and a half. Mom was bedbound, combative, got kicked out of multiple facilities, so that just wasn't an option. As you can see, Molly, his wife, had health issues. So we were coming in, well, the insurance came in and cut off her services unexpectedly. Not only that, but they didn't tell them that they cut them off for 75. So for 75 days, we had to back bill them for something that they couldn't even afford in the first place. And the insurance company had a special rule or whatever it is in their policy that said that they had 90 days to notify you of a cancellation.
Oh, so they were gonna wait till day 90.
Yeah. And then, and shortly after that is when she passed, because they couldn't provide the care that she needed.
Absolutely.
Just heartbreaking. And we see it so many times.
And imagine being the person that gets to help someone
Right.
deter from that happening.
Right. And then like
Yes.
when you in there, like even in the medical field, so all these different illnesses and stuff, all being linked to stress.
Yeah.
All being linked to stress. Everybody out here stressing because they don't have enough money.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then I'm like, we're the solution, right? I love Primerica because I'm like, we are the solution. We are the solution. We're the solution to alleviate that stress. I was talking to a girl yesterday, Marisha, and I was like, can you go to your job right now and ask them for a $12,000 raise?
Can you ask them to take care of your kids?
Right. I was like, okay, like
I'm gonna give you a discount on daycare.
right. Can you go and say, hey, I need a $6,000 raise? Like you can't do that. And I mean, I have a stance right now, and it's that we need to be very hyper focused on not dependent on other people to take care of us. Like we have to be hyper focused on dependent on ourselves to be able to say, okay, it don't matter who, and I love Primerica, it don't matter who the president is. It doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter. It does not
independent
matter because whenever you have money, that doesn't matter. It don't matter. So I'm like, I want to put people in that position to be like, okay, well, I can go make an extra 12K. I can go make an extra 24K. I can put people in position to make extra money. And that's why our company was freaking founded. Yes, it was founded for the bullshit that we just went through, but it was also founded because middle-class Americans were getting taken advantage of because they don't have enough money to be able to have choices, options, and freedom. That's what we want to focus on. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap up with that. Does anybody else have anything else they want to add as far as our IUL video?
I can't wait to use so many of them lines that he was using in there, because I had got some pushback whenever I had posted and someone said, don't trust a company that only sells one product.
Who said that?
Some random person on the internet, a whole life insurer seller, cash, yeah.
I would say don't trust the person who doesn't know how the millions of products they sell, they don't know how it works. At least I know how much it works.
I was just about to say
Well,
that.
someone hopped in, just ate up. How much Primerica based in Florida?
Show me that we can even have a conversation.
Wait, based in Florida?
If you
Who's
ain't got
the
the
agent?
Yeah, I don't know who it is. I wasn't like friends with, it was on Threads.
You better let us know because we'll get on that thing
And
real
blow
quick,
it up.
right?
Blow it
That's
up.
you up.
Girl,
Yeah.
don't trust the
Oh,
company
and-
that only sell. I'm like, yeah, we sell one life insurance product.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I can't wait till I know more.
Yeah.
But we don't sell just one product.
We don't sell one product, but we sell one life insurance product because we know how it works.
Do you?
They technically sell just one product. It's insurance.
Yeah.
No matter what type, it's just
Technically, you
insurance.
are the one that
And they
sells
don't
it.
even understand that one product. We sell multiple products and know what we're talking about. They can miss me with that.
Every time. I mean, every time I'm like, yeah, like that's cool. How many my thing, because I'm been here a while, how many claims have you paid out? How many checks have you delivered? I mean, that's just me, right? That's my comeback.
But if they selling strategies and you only have one product, how
How do you strategize? You can't even create a strategy. Oh, so
you can't even talk to me about investing
So
because you don't even have the license. So again,
you
what are we talking about?
You sell the type of life insurance with different companies to where people have to depend on it for the rest of their life. Wow. What kind of strategy can you offer with that? Like, no,
and then I would ask, what product do you have on yourself? After all of that, what product do you have on yourself?
Girl, just stay emerged and immersed because, honey.
Build that armor.
Yeah, so Kira, to piggyback on that, I had an agent here in Jacksonville that said the exact same thing, and I ended up replacing his policy.
Oh yeah, you did. You sure did.
Oh, that was the best day of my life.
I feel that. Sorry, y'all. Somebody trying to talk a little crap about my VPs, and I'm like, ain't got time for that. It's okay. I don't. Anyway.
Tag. Tag me in, coach.
And I got it. I was like, oh, that's cool. I mean, it's always the person. Like, I was like, I want VP with them. So,
Oh,
so
please tag me in. You already know about me. Tag me in.
no, it's all right. I want VP with the nearings. So,
Come on.
that sounds like a personal problem to me. Personally. Anyway, I love you guys. That concludes our Saturdays. Do you guys our Saturday, not days? Do you guys feel empowered?
Oh yeah.
All right. I'll drop this in the breakdown.
Stay pimping, y'all.
Yeah, I'm about to go some food.